Hello all, and welcome to my first recording for 2100. Let me make sure that you can see my screen. All right, there we go. Now I know. So I'm going to quickly go over a PowerPoint, just kind of orienting you or introducing you to the course and what you'll be doing this year, or this semester, sorry. So this is for 2100. 600 means we're an online course, Child Growth and Development Skills. Whoop, there we go. So I'm going to try and add learning objectives for every class, so you know what you should be expected to do either by the end of the lecture or typically by the end of kind of the week of activities. So one, students will demonstrate familiarity with the course syllabus by watching this video, completing and submitting the syllabus scavenger hunt. So you will see on Blackboard, which I will show you if you don't already know, a syllabus scavenger hunt document, and that is to help you become familiar with the course syllabus. Students will express confidence in their professor's ability to facilitate their acquisition of knowledge and skills in child growth and development through exit ticket completion. So this one is kind of a later, will be achieved later, but I typically have exit tickets throughout the course. To make sure that you're watching my lectures the first week, I just want everyone to be comfortable with the course. So I don't want to make you do an exit ticket yet. But in the future I will, and that's really anonymous feedback for me to know how I'm doing and to know, do you understand what's being presented to you, either through these lectures or through your book. Students will develop confidence navigating the course site by effectively using and successfully completing the assignments for the first week of classes. So that one's easy. If you find and submit the assignments listed for this week, then you will be doing just fine. And then students will demonstrate understanding of child development by being provided multiple opportunities to define the term in their own words. So this will be done, you will not be handing anything in right now, but at some point during this lecture and later, I might ask you that question for you to jot down to yourself. Right, ready? Let's go on. So I will also always have an agenda for my presentations, and that is to ensure that that you know the beginning and end, and that there's a clear schedule that we can follow together of what we need to cover. It can be a little anxiety provoking if you start one of these and you really have no idea how long it might go. At least I find that. So today I'll introduce myself. Actually, we won't do Who Are You because this is not my live course. I thought I took that out. But that's what I'm using the discussion board for. Then I'll do a quick syllabus overview, and I'll do that through Blackboard as well. Then we'll do a Blackboard site review, a quick video on why kids are amazing, and then a quick slide on what we're going to be studying and learning about this semester. So you probably saw this slide, who am I? This is kind of a brief description of my background, but as you can see, although I am a special education faculty, and special education is my thing for lack of a better word, I know a lot about early childhood because most of my work has been early childhood special education. And so I've taught at a Montessori preschool. I've been an interim daycare director. That's here in New Hampshire where I live. You'll find more out about that. I have also been a pre-K self-contained teacher and integrated teacher in Providence and Coventry, Rhode Island. And I've also worked for early intervention. I actually worked in several positions for the Groden Center, which is an alternative school and also a network that provides other services in addition to K-12 schooling for students with significant, typically emotional and behavioral disorders, typically autism more than anything else. And then I've taught other courses. Most of my courses have either been about autism and inclusion, early learning environments for preschools, infants, and toddlers, or internships for early childhood special education. Who am I really? So this is just kind of showing you some of my favorite things. I'll show you these two little girls here. I call my step kiddos, Grayson and Leslie. These are our two cats, Lonnie and Edgar. Aren't they so cute? You can't see them as well, but there are two birds in their little bird bath. That's Rain and Forest. This is one of our 5 chickens, Charlie. The other chickens are Amber, Betty, Kathy, and Snowflake. And this is our little pet snake, Blaze. The only one I'm missing is our baby tarantula, Madge. We have quite the house of animals. Not surprisingly, I am an aspiring farmer, but I think that's a retirement job. Let's go back here. I was born and raised in New Hampshire. I moved to Rhode Island in 2012, and I lived there for 6 years, right in Providence on the east side. If you know Hope High School, Tortilla Flats, and you know where the Groden Center's main building is located, I lived between those. My ex-husband and I went to Tortilla Flats a lot, actually. So I lived there for 6 years, and I moved to North Carolina for education. And then in 2021, I moved back to New Hampshire, and I haven't left. So it might be a little surprising to hear that I do live in New Hampshire, and I teach not just online classes. I also teach in-person classes for CCRI, but I love both places. My heart is in New Hampshire, in that I love hiking, I love running, I love nature. So it's a place for me. I like rurality, I like being alone. But I like the people in Rhode Island. And so it's hard for me. It's kind of nice doing this and having the best of both worlds, but the commute is hard. And then I love my somewhat step kiddos just because I'm not married to their dad, but I do love them. And then kind of my favorite thing of all, or my favorite things are sitcoms. I know a lot about sitcoms. I know a lot of one-liners from The Office and Parks and Recreation and 30 Rock, and also older ones like Cheers and Seinfeld. But my number one favorite show is MTV's The Challenge. So if you ever want to send an email about something silly that's interesting to you, if it's The Challenge, I could talk about it forever. And just a fun fact about me, I was in an opera when I was in college. I was actually in 2, because I was a music education major and I used to sing, but not anymore. Found my passion and it's here. So that is my kind of get to know you. If you haven't already, please post yours to the discussion board. Let's go to the syllabus. And this is where I'm going to bring Blackboard over here for you. As you can see, I teach a lot of courses, but we're talking about child growth and development. Let me make sure I can see it. That's in person. There. Now, obviously, this is my view, not yours. So let's look at the syllabus. As you can see, one thing I want you to note is that this says version 1, because I have a tendency to make some silly mistakes in my PowerPoints. You will see additional syllabi uploaded, and you'll know which one to choose based on the version. The newest version is the one you should choose. So for right now, I'm on 1, but once you see 2, choose that one. So let's get this syllabus. I haven't actually downloaded it on the computer. That's not it. All right. So clearly I actually did teach this class last semester. So let's show no markup. Some important points I would like you to note. 1, there is a book that you will need. Get that book. The observations, and I thought I had worked on adding dates to these, but I guess I haven't yet. But you'll see you are going to be required to do 2 observations, 1 preschool, 1 infant and or toddler. You'll do an analysis of play, but that assignment is very clearly listed on Blackboard. And as you've already noticed, you are required to participate in weekly discussions, both putting up an initial post and a response to a peer. The instructions are clearly listed here for how you can earn credit on that. This piece is very important, critical deadlines. If you don't understand, I'm going to try and explain it. So let's get down here to the course schedule. Oh, I hate when it's like this. So here, if you're wondering what you need to do week 1, you'll see these are the topics and these are the assignments. So you'll see the discussion board is due today, which I had that posted on Monday, and it's not something that requires reading. So hopefully that wasn't too difficult for anyone. The syllabus scavenger hunt is due tomorrow. And then the chapters 1 and 2 quiz is due by Sunday. For the critical deadlines, if there is an assignment here you cannot do by the date, so say you are realizing you will not have a chance to submit your syllabus scavenger hunt by tomorrow, you need to email me before tomorrow and say, I'm sorry, Miss, you can call me Leslie. I'm sorry, Leslie, I cannot complete my syllabus scavenger hunt. I don't have access to internet right now. And then I might ask, so when do you think you can submit? And as long as you submit before the critical deadline for that week, you can get full credit. So here, if you can't do the syllabus scavenger hunt, email me to let me know. Tell me when you think you can have it in by, and make sure you get it in by February 18th, which is the critical deadline for any assignment from weeks 1 through 3. So these weeks, if you can't make an assignment, email me before the deadline and then tell me when you believe you can have it in by. If it's the critical deadline, then say the critical deadline. And then make sure you submit by 11:59 p.m. by the critical deadline. Okay? I believe, and it is very possible because I have found a few mistakes on each and every one of these. Yep, see, this has to be 7 through 11, otherwise there is no critical deadline. So I can already tell I'm going to need to make some more edits on this, but those are important. And then just making sure you pay attention. I have tried to make it easy by listing all of the due dates on the syllabus. Those are the due dates to follow. I actually haven't added due dates to Blackboard yet, just because I want to make sure there are places to submit those assignments. And because I know that the syllabus is available, but I may also add the course schedule to another section just so it's accessible to you. Is there anything else? Remember spring break 311 to 317. And then you will notice that I have several dates for the final. I have 2 different dates for submitting your final exam. If you submit it on April 28th, you get 10 extra points. If you submit it by May 3rd, you get full credit. But overall, what you should know is that I will open the exam on Blackboard at least 2 weeks before the first due date. And that is true for the midterm here, you can see as well, although I need to change this. I thought I had. This, I just realized I shouldn't do this in this computer. Yeah. So many annoyances. So you can see I'm going to upload a version 2 of this syllabus very soon. See, those are also incorrect. Anyway, at least the pieces that are incorrect are not super confusing. You can extrapolate or figure out from other clues what to do. Just know what assignments are coming up. Make sure you plan ahead of time for your observations. I would strongly prefer you do them in person at a center. If you absolutely can't do that or you can't find one, let me know. I actually have numerous students who are working in centers right now who I know would be willing to take on observers. And that's both at preschool and infant toddler rooms. There is a video version, but I find that it's much better if you can be in a center. All right, I'm gonna close this. Well, I'll save it for now, but I'm going to close it because I just want to show you some things here. So I use the weekly content tab a lot, and I separate the weekly content by weeks. I will also try to link the discussion board to the weekly content. You'll see I actually will add the one that's here. I'm going to delete this. That was my live presentation, which because we do activities in the class, it doesn't really translate to the asynchronous or online class. But you'll see the syllabus scavenger hunt document is here, as well as your first quiz. This quiz is actually a survey. It is the only quiz where you will get 100% simply for filling it out completely. But it's my attempt to say, hey, let's get used to the expectations for quizzes. And then as we move forward, I mean, quiz 3 will be graded, but it's kind of to get used to the expectations before forcing yourself to be graded. And then, or before having to be graded, I should say. As you can see, there's the discussion board. Oh, and there have been more posted since I looked. But basically this week it's who are you? I'm going to try and, since I have the previous discussion board posts and I kind of have an idea of what I want to do, I am going to list the rest of the discussion board posts here for the rest of the semester, so you don't have to wait. All right, next are the assignments. So here I've divided assignments by descriptions, so just to find information on what you need to do. And here you have all 3 observations. The only things I need to add, I believe, are the final reflection and something else. But this will help you with, oh, what do I need to do? And then for, let's go to assignment submissions. You'll see there are spaces. I just added a space yesterday to submit your syllabus scavenger hunt. And here, even though, you know, you should not have even be thinking too much about these yet, the other 3 big assignments are here. When I upload the tests, they will be in this column here. And then here, these are not helpful. This is where you want to look. This is the link to finding the ebook, but you can also buy a hard copy, although I'd suggest an ebook is probably best. All right. Those are some key points that might help you too with your syllabus scavenger hunt. Let's move on. We did Blackboard. So what I really just want you to do is think for a minute. I know it's silly, we're not in a real class, but just think for a minute about why you're here. Why do you want to know about child growth and development? What interests you? All right. Don't need to take too long. I want to now play one of my favorite videos and why it kind of shows why kids are such a joy to learn about and work with. Clearly, I love working with kids, but maybe I can give you more of a reason to love children here.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be... Hey, I never thought of that. Let me think about that. Whoa.
I want to be a teacher when I grow up.
Elementary teacher. I like little kids.
A babysitter.
A pastor.
A dolphin trainer.
A dancer without 8 buds. A hair cutter.
A person who helps in charities.
I'm a cashier at Walmart.
An author. Chapter books about mythical creatures and animals and things.
I want to be a lawyer.
Lawyer.
Pilot. Pilot. Pilot? And a dad? A pilot racer dad? Scientist. Scientist. Paleontologist. Mine for dinosaur bones and studies them.
YouTuber.
Movie star.
A famous actor.
Actor. On stage.
On TV.
On Disney Channel.
Or commercials. I gotta be a model.
Model.
If I want a model, I'll just be a policeman. Police officer. A cop. I want to car chases. Catch bad guys. A superhero. Batman. Spider-Man.
I would like to go into the U.S. Army because my grandma, she loved the Army, but she never went into the service.
I want to be the third African-American gymnast. Gymnastic coach.
I want to be a professional dancer.
Dancer.
Dance teacher.
Ballerina.
Professional soccer player. I have a shirt on right now that's for Barcelona.
Soccer player.
Basketball player.
Basketball, football, or soccer player. Or baseball. I can never choose. I do not know.
I'm still working on that. Maybe when I grow up, I'll pick. I already have a whole plan. Serve the Air Force for 20 years. Become a businessman. Make my own company for cars.
I want to be a Pokemon trainer.
I want to work at Target.
I want a cake. I want to be a pop star. Rock star. Singer. Singer.
I want to be a cook, but I don't really know how to actually cook.
I want to be an artist.
Painter. I want to be an artist that goes around painting walls.
An artist and a video game maker.
Video game designer. Video gamer. I want to be a filmmaker. Whatever my dad is.
Do you know what your dad is?
I'm not sure. I would be a doctor. Doctor. A mermaid. A mermaid doctor.
Heart surgeon. Neurosurgeon.
Cardiologist.
Gynecologist. Pediatrician, the kid's doctor.
Pediatrician.
And why do you want to do that?
I want to be a doctor and then I can wear rainbow sweatpants.
I really want to be a nurse. Everyone says you have to be very good at science and math. I'm not really, but I still want to be one.
I want to be a pet doctor because I like helping animals. Pet vet.
Veterinarian. Zoologist.
Princess Fairy Zookeeper.
How much do you think they get paid?
$29.
Those are my favorites. So I especially love that video because it just shows all the different developmental stages the children are at and their answers and how detailed their answers can be. Also that children are just unfiltered for the most part, and honest. I love the kiddo who says, whatever my dad is, and what does he do? I don't know. It's a joy, and that's part of why even when it can be really stressful, it's also wonderful too. So similar to the slide before the last one with the video, I want you to take a minute to jot down what are your thoughts? What is child development if you were to try and define it in your own words? And don't worry, we're not doing too much more. This video is a little bit longer than I wanted, but there's a lot to do. All right, let's move on. I don't want to take too long on this. Let's see how close you are. So first, let's start with the definition of what is development. Just so we all are on the same page in what we're talking about, it's a process by which humans can change both quantitatively, which is basically the ways you can easily measure in the numbers. So one of the easiest examples of that is, how children grow. Height, right? Height and weight can be measured. And qualitatively, these are characteristics that cannot be easily measured, like intellect. Cognitive ability is a big one. Again, one of the ways we thought we could measure it was IQ, even though IQ is culturally biased. Personalities, what types of personalities, what types of temperaments? These are things that we can't really measure quantitatively, but we can try to develop qualitative measures, which is typically through a lot of observation to assess. when we're talking specifically, and in this course we are, about early childhood development, we're talking about birth to 8 years old, which is typically around 2nd grade. So if you were to become certified in early childhood, a certified teacher, you could teach in the public school up to 2nd grade. And then when we're talking about development, we typically, and the book does this, talk about it across these domains. Social emotional, so we talk about social emotional in terms of relationships and social, skills of interacting with people, but some of it is just understanding emotions, regulating emotions, emotional awareness. Those are all part of social emotional development. Fine and gross motor is talking about movement. Fine motor are what we call small muscle movements, so typically things we do with our hands. Whereas gross motor is talking about large muscle movements, which are like activities that require your whole body, like running, walking, climbing in general. All of those things are part of gross motor. Cognitive development is interchangeable with intellectual development. That's about how you think, how you learn. That talks about your own regulation, your ability to structure and understand when you are learning what you are learning, which is very difficult to explain. That also speaks to certain skills like attention, impulsivity, attention, impulsivity, organizational skills, ability to follow complex directions in general, as well as increasingly more complex directions. Language, which can also include literacy, but when we're talking about language, we're talking about communication. And I say that because in early childhood, just because infants and toddlers might not have words yet, that doesn't mean they're not communicating. They have other ways, typically through gestures, facial expressions, noises, vocal approximations. Behavior often is one of the most obvious. Crying is a form of communication. Indirect, but still it's saying, I have a need that I need met and it's not getting met. And then lastly, we talk about adaptive. That's a little bit more difficult to define, but we usually think about skills of daily living. And with respect to there are more of these skills that special education teachers especially become concerned about in high school. But in early childhood, we're thinking about toileting, the personal hygiene. These are all part of adaptive skills, the ability to cope. I mean, some of that is social. The ability to adapt to new environments is both social, emotional, and adaptive, and it can be the types of behaviors we see is part of what we measure in determining someone's adaptive behavior and social emotional skills. But most of, like toileting is the most obvious one, the ability to dress and feed oneself, those are all adaptive living skills because we need those in order to survive. As the semester moves forward, we are going to dive into each of these, and we're going to explore social emotional development first. Maybe I have to look at how I ordered it. I think it's physical growth and development, but we're going to look at each of these and then see how children grow across each domain. Which this is how the RILES are also organized, and I find this much easier than how the book has organized it. But be prepared to learn more. We're going to stop there because this has been a long enough presentation. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next week.